Transform your photography from average to extraordinary by next Friday. Yo, what's up my brother, what's up my sister? This is your boy Ntege with yet another amazing video. In this particular video today guys, I'm going to show you how to use the dynamic action pack, how to automate your whole retouching process so that you can have more time to work on your business, make more money, and of course attract those high paying customers for you. Let us already dive into this particular thing. Many of you have been asking, Oscar, you gave us the dynamic action pack, but how do we put it to use? Oh, by the way, if you don't have it, click the first link in the description below and download it. And for those of you who have not yet enrolled for the Retouching Secrets Masterclass, of course click the link in the description below and of course join the thousands of photographers that are transforming their photography businesses from just average businesses to extraordinary businesses and transforming their crafts. And use the discount code below provided in the description to get a 50% off. That aside, let us already dive into this particular thing. Right, now we are going to put our retouching on autopilot as I had promised you. So you come here into the actions panel right here. Now the first thing we are going to do, we're going to use the beauty frequency of the 24 megapixels. Now this is the frequency separation, this particular one. You remember I told you all these particular actions I gave you a frequency separation action for 24 megapixel images, which is the most common cameras, and I gave you a frequency for pictures of 45 megapixels and above, and this is the 50 MP frequency. So I'll just come here into the beauty frequency right here. You can either press F2 on your keyboard because I had already set keys on this particular frequency, and then you click onto it and then you just click the play button just right here. Once you do that, this is the beautiful thing about this action here, in that it takes you step by step and on how much you want to blur out. So what are we going to do? You just come in. So what we want is every texture we want to maintain, as I told you in the first lesson, we have to blur it out here, but not to the extreme. We still want her looking beautiful. So we come and blur it out slightly, because this is not a big image, so you cannot take the blur too much because you may end up having no impact on the whole image. So we want to keep it like it's a simple blur, just like, let me just zoom it out just a bit. I think this is good. This is good. I'll just come here and say okay. After we've done that, you're going to come here and then you come and select the background copy layer, this one here. You put this at 2, the scale, and you put the offset at 128. Okay, and we're going to come here and say okay. Remember to keep the blending mode in subtract, and then you say right there okay. So what are we going to do now? When you look at this image, now we've separated the frequencies of this particular image. We have the textures on their own layer and we have the colors on their own layer. Let me just rename this. These are the colors, and then these are the textures. See, in just a few clicks you've done your frequency separation. So let's begin working on the skin super fast. I'm going to be fast in this one, okay? So we're going to first work on the textures. How do we do this? You get your clone stamp. I usually love increasing the hardness a bit. I keep this in 100 and then I press Alt on my keyboard to make a selection, and then oops. Now I love the fact that this has happened. You see what has happened? It is happening like this because remember we had turned this into current layer and below. I'll press Ctrl Z or Command Z on your keyboard just to undo it. So I'll just come here and reset it back to current layer because I want the effect to only and only be on this particular layer. So how do we do this? I hate seeing this particular thing. somehow distracts me. This particular thing that goes on following around, that everywhere I clone I see it, it distracts me. But you can leave it there. So how do I remove it? I just come and click here, and then I click remove over there so that I don't see it following me everywhere. So what I do, I come back to the texture layer, press Alt, I click to select, and then I just come and begin removing these particular blemishes. Remember, we don't want to make her skin smooth like she has a Snapchat filter or a TikTok filter on her. We just want to make her beautiful, still maintaining her skin texture, just giving her beautiful skin tones, okay? Because if you make her look like a Snapchat filter, there is no way you're going to compete with okay, this is me, I'm not throwing shade, but the whole thing I'm saying is don't make her so smooth. You just want her to retain her skin, but in the most beautiful way that there is, okay? Now, this is how we have worked on the textures. Let me just zoom it in for you guys. We see what we have done so far. Yeah, we have, look at that. Oops, I'll put these in the group just to, I'll call this frequency. Just like that. So let us look at the before and after. Look at this. That's the before and that's the after, guys. Isn't that amazing? That we have got rid of all this texture without these particular pimples, without affecting the skin tones down. Let me just remove these things that are appearing below the chin, just like this. So now the next thing we are going to do, now we're going to work on these particular skin tones. When you look at the skin tones, the makeup wasn't well blended. It has all these issues. Now every part you're going to see here is going to have its own difference in blur, because when you look at now a part like this, it has a lot of blotches. Now this is where I love using the Gaussian blur, because it gives you more precise results than the mixer brush. I see people using the mixer brush, but in my opinion it ends up sculpting people into for example, that's why you look at certain pictures and all people have the same nose shapes, the same foreheads, because they use the mixer brush. When they get to the nose, they all scratch the brush in a straight format. So somebody ends up having the same people having the same noses, same everything. Why I use the Gaussian blur technique is because it gives you more precise and it does not really take away the shape of the whole face. It retains the shape of the face while again emphasizing the tones. That is my personal opinion. If you use the mixer brush, of course, well and good. If you're a good artist, go for it. But if you're not so good at sculpting, if you're not so good at human sculpting, I advise you to use the Gaussian blur technique. So we're going to get our lasso tool, put the feather at 18 because it's not a very big image, and then we're just going to come and make selections around. Now when you look at this particular zone, the cheekbone, now this part needs to have its own frequency. So I just come, make sure it's the colors layer that is selected. I just come into filter, I say blur, and then I say Gaussian blur. So let me put it back to 0. Now I want to see that these tones are really well aligned, that they are well blended, that they are gradually moving into each other very well. That's why I've selected outside, not into, slightly outside the whole contour, so that I have the whole thing blending together. I need to see this particular highlight blending well into the skin tones and also blending very well into this particular contour that she was trying to draw here. So I'll just come and blur it out slowly as I gauge. Slowly. Again, I don't want to take it overboard to a level that she gets flat. Now that is where the burning and dodging will come in, but I'll come, because actually most of the times when I'm editing it, I even move far away, so that away from the computer, so that I see the effects from a distance. Don't stand too close to the computer. You may end up making the whole image flat. Stand away so that you see that you're not losing any of the highlights. There is that sweet spot. Of course, your subconscious will tell you, your instincts will tell you that, hey, I think this is the sweet spot. So that is the sweet spot you want. Oh, now that is too flat for me. It is too flat. So I'll slightly back down until I get to that sweet spot where it's not too flat. Right there. And I would say, okay, so I'm just going to still come now on the cheekbone area, and then I come right here and I select, and I'll press now Ctrl or Command F on my keyboard. If you're using the latest version of Photoshop, you have to press Command Alt or Option F to repeat the action. But since I'm using Photoshop CC 2014, I'm just going to press Ctrl F to repeat the action that I had done. So I'm just going to come and do the same over here. So I go on doing the same thing over and over again until I see that the skin is well blended. Of course, this is not the much time we took doing this picture. It took much longer time, but for the sake of not having this video so long, I'm just taking you through how to use the actions. For those of you who have already enrolled for the Retouching Secrets Masterclass, of course you saw how we did this image step by step on autopilot using those different actions and the like. So if you've not yet actually enrolled for the Retouching Secrets Masterclass and you want to enroll, just click the link in the description below, and remember to use that discount code I've given you in the description so that you get a 50% off on your enrollment. Join today and transform your photography from average to extraordinary. I promise you, by next week you would be a super great retoucher. Your photography would be a level up. That aside, let's continue on to the next action, and I show you how to use the next action. So the next thing we're going to do right now, we are going to do what they call banning and dodging. Banning and dodging, as we looked at in the first lesson, in our first step-by-step lesson, banning and dodging is going to help us create more depth and dimension into this particular image. For the sake of you who did watch the other video, I'm going to go through again the ban and dodging technique, but this time we're going to automate it halfway. Ready? Let's do this. Now you come into here, into the actions right here, you click, and then you look for ban and dodge right here. You click on it and then press the play button, just like that. And then we're going to come at the ban layer, and what are we going to do? We're just going to come, get our brush tool here, and then we're going to reduce the flow. Let's keep it at around 4 there, and then we are going to come and make the brush big, and then we are going to put white on top. Then we are going to paint over like that, and then we are going to also come here around there like that. We make sure the nose gets that depth around that area. We come and pan still around here. The 4 is still too much for me. I'll just come and put it at 2 so that I get, a very good. So you go on and on creating dimension, depth, banning, dodging, and pushing certain parts away and popping certain parts out so that you create that 3D kind of feel in your image, so to avoid that flat look that usually frequency separation brings. Of course, I'm not going to go into details into this. You already, if you've not watched the banning and dodging lesson, just click the link up there and watch the full tutorial on banning and dodging. Okay, let's go to another action now. The next thing we are going to do, we are going to do eye whitening. So you come into eye whitening, and then I play. So eye whitening, I just come, I zoom in. This time I still get my brush. I'm just going to raise the opacity and flow. So I'll just come and paint over. Still come here. So I press X on my keyboard in order for this to turn. Then I come with white, with black rather, and then I rub off whatever I'm going to rub. Remember, white reveals, black hides. So we are going to hide the effect where we don't want it. Just here. Now, the other thing, like I told you in the previous image, some people whiten these eyes. Let me just bring it back to white. There are people I see who whiten the eyes up to this area. Please don't whiten eyes up to this area. This look makes the whole picture look weird. Actually, it's even better you just rub it off and somehow you rub all the way this way so that you just have this white just gradually coming in. You know, you don't want it to be all graphical when you are editing. You don't want graphical edges when you're whitening eyes. Let's see. That's the before and that's the after. Before and after. So what are we going to do next? I come back to actions, and then the next thing I'm going to do right now, I'm going to do what they call eye presence. Remember when I told you that when you're doing the camera raw thing, do not add in blacks because they kill the presence of the eyes. Now this particular action is going to help you improve eye presence. So you click onto it and then you press play. You come here, still on 2 layers, right here. Okay, for some reason it has this particular action. What we're going to do, I don't know, I think I forgot to remove the action thing, but I'll create a new action for you guys. Just come and first paint it black again so that it is completely black. So what I'm going to do, I'll just come here with my brush, this, reduce the opacity, and then I'll just come and get my white and then paint over the edges. I paint it in a circle like that. I also come over this eye here. Now, here is the trick. Yeah, here's the trick. When you look at the human, if you paint it like this, it won't come out as natural as possible. Now, you see these eyelashes? They cast a shadow onto the pupil. So you make sure when you're doing it, you don't take it to the edge of the eyes. You can take it to the edge, but again, you come back and rub it because we need the shadow from this particular eyelid to be casted over the eye so that it has more of depth in the whole thing. So what we do, you just come do this, paint white, and then I'll reduce the flow, and then I'll come and just rub it like that. Same applies here. I'll do the same thing over here. So I'll get a hard brush, this particular brush, and add in hardness because I want to emphasize the pupil. Then I'll find that sweet spot where the brush is the size of the pupil. What we want is create presence, and then I'll just come and do that. Still here, and still do that. And then we've created presence, but we don't want her eyes to look that brown, okay? So what we do, you come here and reduce the opacity. I'll reduce it until, so we have, that's the before, that's the after, before, after. I'll reduce the opacity even further. But this is now a question of test. I don't want her to have again too much of those brown eyes that make her look robotic. The goal is just to give it just a little presence, you know, so that she doesn't look dead. So the next thing I'm going to do right now, I'm just going to still come into the actions here. And now the next thing I'm now going to do is I'm going to do color correction. Okay, so how do I do color correction? I just come here and then I just play. Now those are the colors I have, but again I feel it has taken out a lot of blood, sucked out a lot of blood out of the whole image. So what do I do here? So I'm just going to begin reducing the opacity of each of the actions here. Just come and reduce. The goal of this whole actions thing is to help you make your retouching process super fast, and just go on tweaking the different elements, different adjustment layers until you get to that particular point where the picture looks as awesome as you want it. But if you want to be a better retoucher, a great retoucher by next Friday, enroll for the retouching masterclass today. I'll see you in the next video, and adios.